exercise 29. For this project, we do have a lot of detailed information in our tutorial packet. However, it is missing some very important hints and tips, so that is where this video comes into play. So here's our final product. What we got going on today that is new, we're going to learn a couple new drawing techniques. One, we get to learn how to use polygon tool. We get to learn how to use the rectangle tool. We get to learn how to use round rectangles. And as far as new commands, we learned how to use this command called difference, where we can actually subtract one object from another, making holes. And those are the things that are entailed in exercise number 29. So right off the bat, our instructions tell us to start a new drawing, and you're going to use the small objects millimeters drawing template. And we're going to draw it in the top viewport. First object our instructions tell us to draw is our rectangle, and we're going to do corner to corner. Directions tell you to go to a set of coordinates, which is down here lower left, and then it tells you to go ahead and type in the width and the height of our rectangle. Now you notice where this is centered. Our rectangle is centered on our origin point, and that's going to come into play for a lot of the things that we draw later on. After we draw that rectangle, our instructions will go ahead and let's go back to our rectangle, except this time go center corner. In the center of my rectangle here is going to be simply 0 for my origin point. One thing you do have to do in the command bar up top, you want to click where it says rounded, because we're going to put a round on these rectangles. And then instructions tell you to type in our length, which is 19th, and our height, which is 9, or width in this case, which is 9, and then our radius for a rounded rectangle, which is 1. Now, our instructions don't give us too clear here. It just tells you in step number 7, repeat, and it gives you another set of sizes. So you can go up and go ahead and draw a rectangle, center corner. We're going to start off at 0. We're going to click on rounded, and then we're going to type in 18, enter 8, enter, and 0.5. So there are our 3 rectangles. 1 non-rounded, 2 rounded. Next objects our instructions are going to teach us how to do is our ellipse. So we come down here to ellipse from center, and that's where we are going to start drawing it, our origin point again. And I believe our instructions tell us to draw 4 and press enter for our length of our line, and it tells us to turn ortho on. So if you have grid snap on, you should be able to get it right on the red line, or you hold down the shift key to go straight to the right. And then instructions tell us the next size, which is 2. And click your mouse, and there is our ellipse. You might call it an oval, but technical term is an ellipse. The instructions will then start telling us how to draw our polygons. Now, it only gives you one set of instructions for one polygon, and you have to interpret how to draw the rest of those polygons. And something else you have to understand is we're drawing in 4 quadrants. So the first one that we're going to draw is down here in the lower left, so both coordinates are negative numbers. And as we go around, the numbers stay the same, however, the negative and the positive symbols do not. So when we're drawing up here in the upper right, it's a positive number versus a low left, negative number. So we're going to go up to curve. We're going to choose our polygon tool, center radius, and the instructions tell us to do -7, -2 to start off with. And now you get to type in the number sides. All you got to do is type in the number sides and hit enter. For me, it's a little bit different. I got to do it over here. The first one that we're going to draw is a triangle, which is 3 sides. And now type in our radius. Now, it doesn't matter which directions these point, whichever tickles your fancy. Boom, there it is, good enough. And we got 3 more to go. So I start back up on my polygon tool. And this time, since I'm in the upper left-hand quadrant, it's a -7, +2. My number sides for a pentagon is 5. So again, all you got to do is type in 5, enter, and then 1.5 for our radius. And click your mouse anywhere, and there you go. Polygon tool again. We're in the upper right-hand quadrant, so 7, 2. You may have to type in number sides in first. I don't think so. I think you can do it anytime except for when you're on the radius step. So this is a hexagon, 6 sides, 1.5 radius, and then click your mouse in any direction. Last one, octagon, 8 sides, and it's going to be down here in the lower right, so it's going to be 7, -2 for quadrants or coordinates, and 1.5 for size. Again, click your mouse. So there are all the pieces we need to construct our little toy box. Now, we're going to use all 4 viewports here when we start extruding, start moving stuff around. The instructions really don't give you any sizes. It gives you good instructions on how to do each step, but it doesn't tell you how far to extrude some of these objects out. So I'm going to give you the sizes I would like to use in this video. First step in the instructions, it tells you to select both of your rounded rectangles, and we do that by holding down the Shift key, coming up here to Solid, Extrude Plane, Curve Straight, and now you notice how this is extended both above and below our object. Make sure it says where it says on the command bar, both sides should equal no. So that way it's only extruding one direction at a time. So our distance is going to be -6. And then we set the shading on here so you can see what happened. We actually have a hollow tube. This one's actually supposed to be hollowed. Uses both those rounded rectangles to create a hollowed solid object. We're now going to do our tabletop. So we go back up to solid, we're going to go to Extrude Plane, Curve Straight, and it's going to go for a distance of 1. So there we have a top to our little table here. Now we get to start extruding all the other objects. And it's much easier to select the line over here, and in the perspective unit window when we have to select a solid object, it's much easier to click on the solids in perspective, but in the top viewport we can actually select our lines much easier. So first object we're going to extrude now is our ellipse. So we go up here to Solid, Extrude Plane, and Curve Straight. But now we want to make sure that both sides is on. So I'm extruding both above and below where my line, where my object is located, where I originally drew it. And this time we're going to do a distance of 1.5. So once I do that, you can see that it's extended both above and below where we have our lines drawn in. The instructions now take you to our new command, difference. So it's also underneath the solid menu, and you can think about this like kind of like a cookie cutter type command. So first thing it wants you to do, select surfaces to subtract from. You can think of that your cookie dough. And once you click on that and hit the Enter key, it wants you to select the surfaces to subtract with. This is where you can think of using these objects as the cookie cutter. So I'm going to click on my extruded ellipse and hit the Enter key. Now, if it doesn't disappear, don't panic. There was a selection of command line that says delete input equals yes or no. If it says no, it stays just like this, and I'd have to reselect it and hit delete. If you have that to say delete input equals yes, it would disappear when it cuts it out, so you won't have to do that extra step. But it's the same regardless. It cuts a hole right through our table. So now we're going to extrude all of our polygons, but each polygon is going to be extruded to a different height. So our triangle is going to be extruded to a height of 2. And these all have both sides on, so make sure to extrude both sides is on. So that is a height of 2. Then we're going to do our pentagon, and that's going to be extruded to a height of 2.5. And then we're going to do our hexagon, and that is going to be extruded to a height of 3. And our octagon is going to be extruded to a height of 3.5. So as you can see down here, each one's a different height. And now we get the differences from our table at the top again. So solid difference, we're going to select our tabletop first, hit the Enter key, and now I'm just going to select all of my objects. And I want to make sure it says delete input equals no. All right, so if it says delete input equals yes, click on it so it says delete input equals no. That'll be up on top on your command bar because we want to keep our objects. So if it says delete input equals no, hit the Enter key, and it appears that nothing has happened. But if I hold down my Shift key and select all my objects, and then go down here to my right viewport and drag them straight up, there are my holes, there are all my objects, and that completes exercise number 29.